Also, I was kind of lucky enough to kind of be doing one-off events. So I kind of was doing some improvisation, murder mystery evenings, a bit of voiceover work. So I had kind of a few little projects on the go. I think it has been quite difficult because as an actor, we're all about kind of freedom of movement and, not wanting to kind of like physically and mentally connect, with our acting partners and directors and things, I'm just not going to limit myself. I'm just going to wake up every day and think, I'm really living, I want my affirmations to be like, I am truly living, my own creative life now. I'm totally free.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Creatives in Lockdown. If you haven't done so already, feel free to like, comment and subscribe and turn on your post notification bell so you can stay within the creative circle. Today I'm joined here by the lovely actress Louisa. Hello, Louisa.
Hey, Justine, lovely to join you guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really happy to have you here and I'm really looking forward to our chat. How's your week been so far?
Yeah, busy, to be honest, because I'm kind of still combining like multiple projects, as well as the acting. So the acting stuff's been on hold for a little while and I'm kind of still working the 9 to 5. So it's quite busy at the moment, but good, productive.
Exactly, nice and healthy, which is what we like to see. Cool. So let's get started with the first question. So could you describe yourself using 3 words without saying creative?
Yeah, this was a hard one because I was thinking, oh my gosh, when people meet me, they think, oh, you're more interesting in person than sometimes I appear on person. Because I think even though I am creative, I'm not kind of using that as one of my 3 words. I think sometimes on paper, I can kind of describe myself as very, I don't necessarily come across like that because obviously I've got another side to my personality, working in, administration, tutoring, the serious side of me, whereas the acting kind of brings out the fun side. So I would describe myself as focused, goals driven, productive and resourceful.
Oh, I like that. That's a really nice summary and I'm sure that's very reflective on you. That's a really good descriptions. What was you doing creatively just before the lockdown in March 2020?
Yeah, so I've been doing, a number of, little things, to be honest, always part-time because I've always been kind of juggling it amongst other projects, like working full-time, setting up a business, doing my tutoring, all that kind of stuff. I was actually selected as a lead in a Fringe play called Music Lovers, so playing a character called Miss Ames. And unfortunately, the Fringe play, it was due to be on in that spring, really, basically like spring of 2020, at the Wimbledon Studio Theatre. And then it was pushed back to April 2021, and then it's been pushed back again to April 2022. So it's like, oh my gosh, I totally connected with that script. The rehearsals hadn't started because generally you rehearse, for a play anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, generally on average. Rehearsals hadn't started, but I was really disciplined with the line learning because I know that I've got to kind of write myself a very rigid schedule and stick to it because I'm not very disciplined in that area. I'll be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow kind of thing. I'm too tired. And then also I was kind of lucky enough to kind of be doing one-off events. So I kind of was doing some improvisation, murder mystery evenings, a bit of voiceover work. So I had kind of a few little projects on the go. And I've kind of just dabbled a little bit over the whole lockdown period. But, obviously not going to the theatre, not being able to go to the cinema, that's just been an absolute killer. It's been awful.
Like I totally love going to the theatre, and to not be able to sort of be in that space to watch live performances, it's just been such a huge loss. And I'm hoping as time goes on, it gets better where we can get to that level. So you were fortunate enough to be working 9 to 5 during the lockdown at the University College London during that sort of time. So what did you do there and how did you sort of balance your creative work?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it hasn't always been easy. I've been in London, 6 years, and I kind of pursued, moved down to London to kind of pursue my acting goals and things like that. But, I've always had to kind of work the 9 to 5, to pay the rent and the bills and all that kind of jazz. So I'm a senior administrator at UCL Institute of Education. So I kind of look after, a big department doing all the HR, the financial administration, just looking after the overall operation. So it's quite a full-on role, but quite rewarding. I work with some really interesting people. And then in terms of how I've kind of, met my creative objectives, I suppose just trying to see as much as I can. So before the lockdown, I've never really kind of had the time to kind of sit and watch lots of kind of like films and Netflix and stuff. I've always been kind of more theatre than film. Sure. But my partner, Tom, is an absolute, movie buff. So he's really got me into kind of watching movies. So it's been really lovely because as a household, there's me and Tom, and we've got our friend Matt who lives with us as well. We kind of have like a movie night on a Friday. So that's been our kind of creative hub. It's been really lovely, and just reading and going out and all that kind of stuff.
Reviews of films and stuff. It's really cool. It's nice. It's a nice little sort of small community you've got going. Nice into the creative spirit. It's really good. Yeah, that's it. That's nice. So how did you sort of find taking part in acting classes at the MN Academy? For those of you that don't know, MN is a film and TV training course. It's 4 terms long. And I understand you were sort of doing that. So was that sort of done online start of this year, and how did you sort of adapt to that change?
Yeah, I mean, it started off online, and then basically the lockdown eased. So obviously Tom, who is one of the co-founders of the company, and I was lucky enough to be taught by him, just so knowledgeable, inspiring, and just such a lovely guy. He basically got us into the studio a few times, so we could obviously connect as a group, and it was obviously safe to do so at that particular period. And then the rest of the course, reverted back to being online. I mean, I was kind of a little bit skeptical about how it was going to work, because I think, as as an actor, you've got to kind of build up chemistry and screen presence with the other actor. And I think if you haven't met people properly in person over a series of classes, that's quite hard to kind of establish online. And previous to that, I'd kind of done a method acting course, which was purely theatre based with Standby Method Acting School. I don't know whether you've heard of that company, but basically I'd worked. Oh, have you? Oh, brilliant. So that course was entirely online. So I think because I'd had that preparation, I think, the transition with MN Academy didn't feel so alien to me.
So congratulations in getting into Spotlight, the casting platform. That's fantastic news. Why do you think actors should apply to this platform? What are the benefits of it moving forward?
I mean, there's certainly, a lot of people who are kind of for and against it, shall we say. I think it's nowadays it is a very commercial platform, but I still think the advantages outweigh the negatives, because I think, in terms of kind of increasing your reach, you just don't know what kind of casting directors and producers are looking for. And even if you're unrepresented, but you've got like your headshots, you've got your showreel, you've got your previous work portfolio on there. If a casting director, for example, for me, my casting type is a northern working class, stage and screen actor. And if they're looking for an unknown, say, for example, I don't know, Ken Loach was doing another film in Newcastle and he was looking for an unknown, Geordie actress, and he kind of typed into Spotlight, then, that would give me an opportunity. And I think it's the same for a lot of kind of emerging talent as well. And I think also, the kind of the contact section of the of Spotlight is also really useful, because I think sometimes, there's so much information out there online that it's so overwhelming to find, like, oh, who's making this, who's writing that, who's producing that, whereas all the information's all in one place. But I think, you can rest assured that they have been through some vetting process, because, there's got to be some liability if Spotlight are advertising someone who maybe isn't legit. So I think it's the reputation, it's kind of the opportunities for unknown talent for me particularly.
Yes, and I think it's such a useful platform, as you say. You know, there are some tutorial videos, I think, on there as well. And
Yeah.
for those of you that sort of want to know how to do something, it's a really great place to watch that. So I would totally check Spotlight out. It's fantastic. And once again, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just so, because again, it's like anything, you can have worked so hard at something, and when you don't see the results coming in, it can just be so disheartening. And I've tried for years and years to get on, and it was just a case of just building up those 4 credits, in a variety of different work, stage, screen, voiceover, and then obviously just being ready. And then obviously when you are ready, these things happen. So I would just say to people, it is really tough to get on there, but just keep trying.
Just keep trying. You've got to keep going, because just never give up, because it's
Yeah.
always the way, like Louisa, it's always the way. So the next question is, tell us a little bit about the Fringe play that you mentioned that you took part in, and how it sort of made you feel performing under COVID restrictions.
So the Fringe play is actually on hold, but we've kind of, I've met the cast and the director. I mean, I know these people anyway through my existing network. I mean, it's been quite difficult, I would say, because I think Paul Dagley, who's he's the founder of Daggers Productions, I think he's had to make that difficult decision to kind of just put everything on hold and not even do rehearsals, because he's very much somebody who is all about in person. He's a very a very creative type, very flamboyant, really larger than life character. And I think for him, being restricted online just wouldn't have kind of just brought his projects to life. So I think it's a sensible decision to put that on hold. And there's obviously been that kind of distance, which is really hard. And Emin Academy was perhaps an example of that. When we had in-person classes, we had to kind of just have our distance, but it still worked. And I think when you are creative and you want to get something off the ground, I think where there's a will, there's a way, and you will make it happen.
Your non-creative work has involved tutoring French, English, to launching your own virtual assistant business. So what has inspired you to pursue these avenues? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I've always kind of been somebody who's very creative, likes kind of variety in my career. But I think because I'm quite a security focused person, I'm very pragmatic. I've always kind of just been trapped in the 9 to 5, while secretly feeling quite stifled, but realizing that, oh well, the upside is I've got security, I can take annual leave, and other perks. But I think ultimately what it boiled down to was just wanting like flexibility, realizing that there's a ceiling on the career that I'm in, and would I want to kind of progress any higher? Probably not, because I think with the role that I'm in, if I was to kind of progress to that next level, it would just be 60-hour weeks, a lot of stress, not being able to kind of switch off. And I think, I just think it's time. I'm at that point in my life where, I'm 35 this year, and I think, I just wanted that kind of diversity. And, a portfolio career has always been attractive to me. And I think as you get a little bit older, you actually just develop a lot more kind of self-confidence and belief in actually, I can do it if I try. And if it doesn't work out, what's the worst that can happen? You go back to your 9 to 5, it's fine. So I think it was just time to take a risk. And I've been kind of stifled by not being able to kind of fully pursue my acting and really seeing where it takes me. When you've got like a full-time job, and you're applying for castings, you can't every week be saying, oh well, I need to be off on a Tuesday morning or a Wednesday morning. Right. And I don't know when I'll be back because I'm going for an audition and I don't know how long it's going to take. So I kind of got to that point where I thought, I'm seeing all these exciting opportunities, but I can't actually go for them. And what's the point in wanting to be an actor if I can't put myself forward? So now to kind of, take the plunge really and see what happens.
Oh, I'm glad you're happy with that, and all the best with it. I think it's great. Yeah, fantastic work. So do you sort of feel time has been on your side over the last year during this pandemic?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you know, obviously I know there's been a lot of people who've obviously been unfortunate during this lockdown period and lost their jobs, and, you know, just kind of everything dried up. Whereas for me, you know, I've been incredibly fortunate. You know, I think being at home, obviously my 9 to 5 job's been very, very full on. I've worked the hardest that I've ever worked in my whole career, because I think anyone working in healthcare or education, it's been a really, really tough ride, you know, I'm not going to lie. But I think the positive upside of that, of kind of maybe saving time, because, you know, I work in, under normal circumstances, you know, I work in central London. So I've got, like, you know, approximately a 2 hour commute, daily commute. And I've been able to kind of claw back that time, which has just been so invaluable, you know, and work with my business partner, Bree, to kind of build our virtual assistant business, you know, and just being able to kind of just have the headspace a little bit to kind of just do some future planning. And also me and my partner are moving house, and, you know, it's just been really a blessing for being able to kind of forge forward with other things. Whereas I think if I'd still been in the office, I would have said, oh, you know, I just don't have time. Like, I get home really late, I'm having dinner and then I'm tired. Whereas I've kind of really been disciplined about using those extra 2 hours, and also exercising as well. Like, you know, I got to the point where I was like, well, if I don't have to travel every day, you know, I'm kind of basically potentially sitting in
some workout sessions.
Yeah, so it's been brilliant. You know, I've been doing couch to 10K. I've been, you know, looking after my health a bit better, you know, like eating better, more time to kind of cook, all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's been a blessing, but I appreciate it hasn't been a blessing for everybody. I mean, obviously there's been downsides, you know, not being able to go to the theatre, not being able to see my friends, socialise, you know, that's a big part of my life, because I'm very, you know, I'm a very sociable person. I love to be around people. I'm energized by it. So I think that's been the downside for me.
Even now talking to you, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you.
Well done on that. So what are your creative plans post the lockdown? We're hoping for June, but I'm not so sure now, but hopefully that still goes ahead. But where would you like to see yourself moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, this period's been great because I've been able to focus on my goals. So yeah, basically, like from the end of the lockdown, I'd like to get new headshots. I want to kind of get a show reel made. I really want to kind of forge forward with kind of rebranding, remarketing myself, and just really going for it and putting myself out there and applying for castings, and, you know, trying to get an agent, and, you know, obviously preparing for my Fringe play next year. But you know, again, not kind of putting everything else on hold until that happens, but working around it. And just being motivated and just getting things done, rather than saying that I'm going to do something and then be like, oh, I'll do it in 6 months' time. I think I've just got to kind of just do it, and I think that's when I'll see real progress.
That's right. Yeah, it's good to sort of just keep on top of it, and keep optimistic as well, because it hasn't been an easy year for any of us. And I think, you know, if you can think in that sort of way, you, as you say, you will get things done. So I'm looking forward to seeing where you go. I'm really excited.
Thank you. No, I'm quite excited myself, because I'm starting to kind of, my mindset's shifting as well. I'm just kind of thinking, gosh, I'm going to feel so free. The world's my oyster. There's going to be so many opportunities. And, you know, I'm just not going to limit myself. I'm just going to wake up every day and think, you know, I'm really living, you know, I want my affirmations to be like, I am truly living, you know, my own creative life now. I'm totally free, you know, from the chains, from the shackles of the 9 to 5. I just think that's ultimately going to be the you know, the ultimate liberation.
Fantastic. And the last question, if you were fortunate enough to spend lockdown with your favorite actor or actress, who would it be and why?
I did kind of really reflect on this question, and whilst I can't say that I've got a top 10 actors list for sure, I think in terms of kind of inspiration, because of their chameleon personality and the different things that they do, you know, they're not just about their acting, I have to choose Michael Palin. Actually, I've been inspired by him for a long time now, because he ultimately kind of set out, you know, into the acting world, you know, with Monty Python and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't really his intention. He was just kind of going with the flow. He met a group of people, and that project just came off the ground. And I just kind of thought, wouldn't it be awesome to live like Michael Palin? And then his life is just so interesting. His whole like second half of his career, where he kind of started to get into travel and just write all those books. I've been following him avidly for the last 15 years, and I just think, one person I would love to just meet and just chat to for like the rest of my life would be definitely him. I just think he's phenomenal, and I love watching him on TV. I just find him so humble, modest, down to earth about his achievements. Like, he just thinks, I'm just doing whatever opportunities offered to me, and I don't necessarily know whether I deserve it or not, but life's just happened to him, and he's just completely embraced it. So I find him really inspiring from that perspective.
It's lovely that you feel connected to that and sort of are inspired, and I hope that sort of encourages you on your creative journey. And I really look forward to seeing where you go, and thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, that's great. Just before we wrap up, would you like to share your socials where people can find you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm probably most active on Instagram. So I'm at Louisa Robs, and I am on Twitter at Louisa Robs as well, but I haven't been very active, but I will be going forward. And then I haven't got round to launching a Facebook business page yet, because I'm kind of waiting to, just basically update my marketing, like my headshots and show reels. But follow me on Instagram for now, and then obviously I'll share. I'll share my updates as and when they become available in the coming months. Thank you.
Oh, that's okay. Well, thank you again, Louisa. And that is it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. As mentioned before, if you want to stay in the creative circle, please turn on your post notification bells. Until next time, join me where I will be interviewing another creative in lockdown. Take care. Bye.